The highest rated online radio network in the world. SoFloRadio.com.
Yeah, was there someone that you listened to? Was there someone you idolized? Did someone pass it down to you? Is it when you went to school? What made you become the person you are today?
For me, it was very early. Elementary school. We had a mandatory Black history class in elementary school in North Philadelphia. It wasn't mandatory for the school district. It just so happened that we had it in my elementary school. So 4th and 5th grade, we had Mrs. Green. She was our Black history teacher, who I coincidentally ran into for the first time since then, not too long ago. But I think that she either lit in me or awakened in me that spark to know who I was and to fight for our people. And when I talked to some of my friends who were around back then, who was in that class with me, they've always saw me as quote unquote the Black revolutionary type. It was something I thought I really didn't develop until middle school, 7th and 8th grade. But as one of my buddies, Jonathan, told me, he said, nah, dog, you was talking that stuff in the 4th grade. So I believe I was always this way, and I think that God led me to Miss Green in that Black history class that really woke it up. There was a Black history oratorical contest, and I entered into it, and I won 1st place in 4th grade, and then again 1st place in 5th grade. But when we came back for the 6th grade year, there was no Black history class. And that's when I learned that this was optional, it wasn't required. But right around that time, my father took me to Baltimore, Maryland, where I got an opportunity to participate in our first family reunion. And so we're walking in the back of a church, and there's a whole bunch of Frederick Douglass memorabilia, his clothing, his Bible, some of his letters, his jacket, big paintings. And I asked my father, and I never forget, because we stayed at the Days Inn in Baltimore Harbor and I almost drowned in that pool that same trip. So I'll never forget the first family reunion. And I asked him, why was all this Frederick Douglass memorabilia in the back of this church? And he said, because you're related to him. And so I think the 4th and 5th grade Black history class with the 6th or 7th grade first family reunion and finding out that I was related to arguably the greatest Black leader in American history, I think that pretty much solidified.
That put a real boost into you.
Yeah, because I felt obligated to try to honor his work, in my own work. Not to say that we would agree on everything, because we would clearly have differences. In fact, Martin Delaney, who co-edited the North Star newspaper with Frederick Douglass, was one of the fathers of revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, who was also from Pennsylvania, as am I, and grew up in a city called Chambersburg, which is the same city where I went to high school. And if you look at the differences between Delaney and Douglass, which were reintroduced into Black consciousness between Martin and Malcolm to some degree, because Frederick Douglass was not a proponent of nonviolence. He very much believed in violence, even though he wasn't an integrationist. So we would disagree on some things, but at the end of the day, I think we would agree that we have to do something different from what we are doing to try to liberate Black people.